"What a terrible story," said the Caliph. "Why are you telling me such a sad tale?" Marianne looked at him wisely and promised she would give the Caliph the next part of her story the following day. That night, Marianne took her pen and continued with her tale, which was soon to become even graver. The young prince came to a mighty river, whereupon he leapt into the deep water and swam for his life. But his brother was a poor swimmer. Terrified of what lay both before and behind him, he hesitated for a moment. It was to be a fatal error. He was struck down by their enemies who were close behind. Truly, he was a man who had lost everything, the Caliph said to Marianne. I thought the story was a happy one. I don't want to hear any more about pain and sadness. Disappointed, the Caliph sent Marianne away. But he could not stop thinking about her story, and eventually he called her back. He had to know, how could the prince continue to live with such grief? Are you sure you want me to tell you? Marianne asked him. He paused for a moment. Tell me, he said. The Caliph began to read the next part of Marianne's story. Desperate for news of his family, the prince sent a messenger to Damascus. But word reached him that they could not be found. Deep in his heart, the prince knew the cold truth of what had come to pass. Lost in sadness, the prince swore he would travel as far as he could from the land of his grief. His heartbreak drove him across the Islamic world, through Palestine and Egypt, and across the vast expanses of North Africa. It was to be an odyssey of 5 long years. And then, at the age of 25, our young prince eventually reached the sea. He looked out across the water. His journey had come to an end, but he knew that where one journey ends, another begins. Despite having lost all that he had, he decided he would begin again. Caliph was lost in silent thought. "Where is your story taking me?" he asked Marianne impatiently. "Are you telling me I need to go on a journey?" "Yes," she told him, "but not the one you think." And so it was that the prince arrived in the southern corner of Europe, where he began to rebuild his life and create a new home in the image of all he had left behind. He planted gardens filled with oranges and lemons, dates and pomegranates, to remind him of his garden at home. He built a magnificent mosque to remind himself of the great mosques of Damascus. And they called him Ad-Dakhil, the guest amongst strangers. The Caliph spoke thoughtfully. "The prince has been on a great journey," he said. "Surely he'll find happiness now in his great wealth and success." But Marianne told him that the story was not quite finished. And so Marianne gave the Caliph the final part of the story, a poem that the young prince Ad-Dakhil had written all those years before. In our midst has appeared to us a palm tree, in a western land far from the home of palms. So I said, "This resembles me, for I also live in distant exile and separated by a great distance from my family. Thou hast grown up in a foreign land, and we are both exiled far from home." The Caliph had finally reached the end of the tale. Marianne waited for the Caliph to respond to her story. Days passed, and she heard nothing. At last, he came to her bearing a gift of thanks. "I see now," he told her, "the true meaning of your tale. You have told me the story of my forefather, Abdurrahman I, who created a new kingdom here in Spain. He founded our great dynasty and brought wealth and prosperity to the land. But all that he yearned for was the love he had lost." The great Caliph had thought deeply about how to reward Marianne for her story. He had found for her an exquisite gift from the royal treasury, a beautiful pen box crafted in the rarest ivory by the finest artisans of the court. "I give you this gift," he said, "because I see now that what I was searching for was here with me all along." And what did the great Caliph Abdurrahman III of Cordoba do to change his life? He began a new story. Their son and heir was called Al-Hakam II. So, that's the story of the great Caliph who learned what is truly valuable in life.